Hello, welcome to Mrs. Bell's Sweet Treats and More. This is my YouTube channel. Today is Monday and this is Monday Moments. I have a recipe I want to share with you today, and I say welcome to all those who have subscribed and those that get to watch the videos and those that have not, who are new to my channel. I am very happy to be here. I enjoy cooking and I want to welcome you. And to those who have been with me, your faithfulness and your comments, I can't tell you how much they mean to me. Many times we cook, those of us who cook, and I'm hoping some of you launch out more to do cooking. But we generally have a circle of people that know us, and it's exciting when someone not only watches the video, but they also share it or they have comments. So thank you, and welcome. Well, today I'm going to be making a caramel cake, kind of simple, and caramel frosting. So I'm going to start. I'm using a box cake mix. I'm using Pillsbury. Most people know I use Duncan Hines or whatever is on sale, and or whatever, whoever has what in the store. So I'm going to start by putting I've already cut the top of my package. And I am going to put my batter. I'm going to start with my putting my cake mix in here. And then, of course, the ingredients are below, so you can click on that. And the next thing I'm going to add, I'm adding sugar. Excuse me. Just regular granulated sugar. And I'm adding all-purpose flour. And I left the half teaspoon so that I'm reminded that I've already added the salt. So I'm going to put these together, and what I'm going to do is just give it some air. Aerate it up just a little bit. There's no liquid, just to get it moving. I'm going to pull it over a little. Just a little bit, because it's been sitting there, and I want air in my flour. So I hope your day is going well and things are, I know here we are looking at, I've talked to some friends and they're preparing to start planting, and I'm kind of looking forward to that. It'll be my first year planting something. I tried last year. I wasn't very successful, but I want to try again this year. So I've put together my flour and my sugar, and I've aerated it, and I've added salt with my cake mix, and now we're going to start adding stuff. So I'm going to add my buttermilk first. Since I'm dry, I'm going to go ahead and add my eggs. Change my mind. So I'm adding my eggs one at a time and get them moving. And of course, the second one went in. The third one went in. And the last one went in. So I'm just kind of stirring it. And then I'm going to add my milk. So I have regular milk here. And I'm adding it slow because I'm sure you've noticed in the past that I've worn my ingredients. When I think about, as I was thinking about making a caramel cake, I was thinking about the caramel I used to buy and the caramel corn that used to be by the park. I used to live in Chicago, and there was a park on Jackson Park, and across the street they used to serve caramel corn, all the popcorns, cheese and caramel corn. And I'd go there, they make it fresh, and you could smell that caramel. Oh my goodness. And it was just the right amount of caramel. Yeah. And the cheese, and yeah. So I'm gonna add my buttermilk. And I'm gonna add it slowly. There's so many things that I miss from being in Chicago. It was a great time to grow up in the 70s, 60s, 70s. So I'm scraping this a little bit. And I'll be right back. So we did a little cleanup here. So I've added my buttermilk, and now I'm going to add my sour cream. I'm gonna turn this down. I learned to add, to spray my measuring utensils to try to get every drop of everything I need out. And I'm going to mix this in for about a minute, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. I've got my sour cream in, and it is blended about a minute. Now I'm going to add some, I'm going to add some caramel sauce. I'm not going to show you the brand I use. I just want you to know that it's the one that you use for just a caramel sauce. You can put over ice cream, or so it's any brand. And I'm just going to use, I got a larger jar because I use it, when I make the cake. And I'm just going to use some of it. I'm using about half a cup, so I'm going to just put it in and let it go. And I am so glad I sprayed this because it went in really well. It gives it that caramel flavor because I'm using plain cake mix. And the reason I also add a little vanilla, because sometimes box cakes, even the brands that I like, they have that flavor of boxy, and I don't want that. When you add vanilla or a flavor to the mix, it just makes it, gives it more of a flavor of homemade. I'm not trying to deceive anybody, but I like box cake too, but I don't like box cake that tastes like box cake. So I'm stirring this. I'm making sure I get everybody off the bottom. And I'm going to be back with you because I want to make sure this caramel gets all the way through. Well, I'm done with beating my cake batter. And I'm going to put it into my pan. I have a 9x13 pan. You can certainly half this. You can half this recipe. I like the 9x13 for the size that I'm using. And I'm going to get that last bit of goodness off of there. I added the caramel, and it just really adds that flavor. When sometimes when I'm dealing with hot caramel, you can get burned, or you can, I can cook it too long. So I'm gonna add it, and here is my batter. And it smells so good. Now, I only used half of it, so I'm going to use the other half. I'm just going to drizzle it over. And it's coming out pretty well because I sprayed the not the measuring cup with some cooking spray. And then I'm just going to, I didn't want to use a knife. You can probably use a butter knife, but I didn't want to mess up my pan. So I'm just going back and forth because I want some caramel up in there. So here's our cake, and we're going to put it in the oven. It doesn't take long to cook, and while it's cooking, I'm going to begin to assemble, but I won't make the frosting until the cake is done and cooled, because the caramel that we're using, we're going to use this same caramel, but when it cools off, it starts to thicken and it may harden, and we don't want that. We want this to be goody and drizzly, so we don't want to make it earlier. So we'll be back when the cake's out. Well, here's the cake. Here's the caramel cake, and it's cooling off. And I'm going to work on the frosting. Now, even though I have the caramel sauce, I want to make a real caramel topping for this. So I begin with some brown sugar, and I'm going to add butter to that, a stick of salted butter. And it's kind of a slow process. You don't want to rush it because we don't want to burn the sugar and the butter. So here is our brown sugar and butter. And I'm going to melt that together and stir it. And it's going to take a few minutes because we're also going to heat it up to boiling, but we're going to go slow. So I'll be back with the frosting, and the cake will be done, will be cool shortly. Well, I have added my milk to the brown sugar and butter, and it is very, very hot. So I'm letting it sit here and cool for a little bit. I just wanted you to see. It looks a little thin. No worries, no worries. So I'm going to let this cool for just a little bit, and then I'm going to add the powdered sugar, and we'll be right back. Well, I have my confectioner's sugar here, and I'm going to add it slowly to this. I sifted it to get rid of the lumps. And that butter and brown sugar by themselves are amazing. I added a little bit of vanilla. You can certainly leave that out. Kind of excited about this this cake because it reminds me a lot of warm inside the house when it's cold outside. And the sauce without the confectioner sugar is pretty amazing. It's not hard to make, but to put in on the inside of the cake, I didn't see the need to make it from scratch. But sometimes when you add that, do that little extra, when you do that little extra for the topping, it just makes such a big deal of the cake. I'm gonna put it back over here for just a moment. It's starting to cool off a little too quick for me. I just want to get it loose, and I don't want to make it boil or anything. And I didn't turn the stove on. Getting a little messy. I'm just going to keep it going. I've already added my milk, so I don't have any more liquid to add. This just a little. It's looking mighty smooth. So here is my caramel topping for my cake. Clean that off. And I'm getting ready to just put it on the cake. It's cooled off. Still a little warm. So I'm gonna I want every bit of frosting on there. So I'm going to just frost this and we'll be back. And there is our caramel cake with caramel frosting. I'm going to cut a little piece. I'm going to clean up a bit and just cut a piece. Well, here's our cake. Caramel. Easy caramel cake made using the box mix, and then I made homemade topping. The topping, it's still a little warm. Together we can do this. You have a good one, and I'll see you next time.